In this video, we will discuss the element of cost in detail. The elements that constitute the cost of manufacture are known as the elements of cost. Such element of cost is divided into three categories. They are material, labor, and expenses. In a manufacturing concern, raw material are converted into a finished product with the help of labor and other service units. Again, these elements of cost are divided into two categories. They are direct material, direct labor, indirect labor, direct expenses, and indirect expenses. All direct material, direct labor, and direct expenses are added to get a prime cost. Likewise, all indirect material, indirect labor, and indirect expenses are added to get overheads. From this chart, you will get clear idea about the elements of cost. Let's see each element of cost in detail. First, material cost. Material cost is divided into direct and indirect. Direct material, it refers to material out of which a product is to be produced or manufactured. The cost of direct material is varying according to the level of output. For example, milk is the direct material of butter. Next is indirect material. It refers to material required to produce a product but not directly and does not form a part of the finished product. For example, nails are used in furniture. The cost of indirect material is not varying in direct proportion of product. Next is labor cost. Labor cost is also divided in two categories, direct and indirect. Direct labor. It refers the amount paid to the workers who are directly engaged in the production of goods. It varies directly with the output. Next is indirect labor. It refers to the amount paid to the workers who are indirectly engaged in the production of goods. It does not vary directly with the output. Next is other expenses. Other expenses also divided into two parts, direct and indirect. Direct expenses. Direct expenses refers to the expenses that are specially incurred by the company to produce a product. A product cannot be produced without incurring such expenses. It varies directly with the level of output. Next is indirect expenses. It refers to the expenses that are incurred by the organization to produce a product, but these expenses cannot be easily found out accurately. For example, power used for production. Next, we will understand the concept prime cost. Prime cost simply is the combination of all direct material, direct labor, and direct expenses. Next concept is overheads. Overheads is also the combination of all indirect materials, indirect labor, and indirect expenses. Next, the types of overheads. Further, overheads are classified into factory overheads, administrative overheads or office overheads, selling and distribution overheads. First, factory overheads. It is otherwise called as production overhead or works overhead. It refers to the expenses that are incurred within the factory premises. For example, indirect material, rent, rates, taxes of factory, canteen expenses, etc. Next is administrative overheads. It is otherwise called office overhead. It refers to the expenses that are incurred in connection with the general administration of the company. For example, salary of administrative staff, postage, telegram and telephone, stationery, etc. Next overhead is selling overhead. It refers all expenses incurred in connection with sales. For example, salary of sales department staff, travelers commission, advertisement, etc. Last overhead is distribution overhead. It refers to all expenses incurred in connection with the delivery or distribution of goods and services from the producer to the consumer. For example, delivery man expenses, loading and unloading, custom duty, salary of delivery man, etc. I hope you understand the elements of cost. Thank you.